this time in Massachusetts, where a young woman runner was killed in broad daylight, drawing comparisons to last week's killing in Queens, New York. ABC's Lindsay Davis here with the latest. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, George. There are some striking similarities. Both were right around the same age and lived in New York. Both were out for a jog in broad daylight, and it appears both were sexually assaulted. Authorities say there's nothing at this point connecting the two cases, but both communities are not only grieving, but fearful a killer is on the loose. This morning, residents in Princeton, Massachusetts are on edge as police search for a killer.
We have a young woman who appears to be a murder victim, and you can't be too careful right now.
The victim, 27-year-old Vanessa Marcotte, went for a jog on Sunday at 1 p.m. and never came back. Marcotte lived in New York City, where she worked for Google as an account manager. Her social media pages showcase her life, including photos with her mother, who she was visiting in Massachusetts.
We do not know if this was a random act. We are asking the residents of Princeton and the surrounding areas to use an abundance of caution. We're asking the public to be careful and to be vigilant. If you have seen anything or seen someone within the last 24 hours that is suspicious to you, we are asking you to report it to the Massachusetts State Police.
Police sources tell ABC News investigators are looking into signs of sexual assault. This is the second high-profile case in less than a week involving a young woman murdered while going out for a jog in broad daylight. 1 week ago, and 193 miles away, Karina Vetrano's body was found by her father just feet away from a jogging trail near her parents' home in Queens, New York. On Monday night, the NYPD held a public meeting in Vetrano's Howard Beach neighborhood to keep residents informed of the latest developments.
So far, we have collected several pieces of evidence from the crime scene that are being forensically processed as we speak. We hope to have all of the results back very soon.
The working theory in the Queens case is that Karina's killer may have been a stranger, which is somewhat unusual. In 2014, for example, of all homicide victims, only 11% were killed by someone they did not know. Both cases remain unsolved. Authorities in Massachusetts are now telling people to jog in pairs.
Yeah, you got to be safe. Okay, let's talk to Nancy Grace about this right now, our friend from HLN. And Nancy, the police say there's nothing to suggest the cases are linked at all, but it is a striking coincidence.
Well, I would not go that far just yet until we get a DNA confirmation of that. I believe part of the reason that they're saying that is the geographical distance between the two. You've got about a 3-hour drive between them. But look at the similarities, as you have pointed out. Both women, avid runners, visiting their parents on a local jogging path, already into their jog. I believe that the second victim was sexually assaulted because she was found unclothed, just like Karina Vetrano. Both of them, I believe, were dragged. The second victim was found deep into the woods, while Karina Vetrano had grass in her hands. I'm wondering right now, where is the iPhone? Where is the cell phone belonging to Vanessa Marcotte? Because if they have that, that would give them so much evidence. If they don't have it, that would suggest to me that the killer has retained it. Another issue is they're saying she was killed by a random killer. Interesting. Why would a random killer take the time in broad daylight, this is Sunday, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, to burn the fingertips, the feet, and facial features of the victim? All the identifying characteristics. Why? If you kill somebody, you want to leave the scene immediately. Why stick around to do that and take the time to drag the body into the woods? Think about it.
I am thinking about it. I'm listening to you, and it sounds like if you were an investigator, your working theory would be that these were tied together until it's disproved?
Well, again, the 3-hour distance is a problem because in the first one, Karina Vetrano, it suggests that it is random. At first, we thought the killer had taken souvenirs or mementos. That's very common, especially among serial killers. But then those items, her headphones and her left shoe, were found about 10 feet away. In this case, police are not releasing that evidence. I'm very concerned about the second one not being random, and I'll tell you why. Both of them were on secluded jogging paths, known mostly to locals, but this second one, that's out basically in a very, very rural area. There were no vagrants. There were no transients. There were no people out on the beach having a bonfire. This is a half a mile in a very rural area. I wouldn't even call it a subdivision. Who would be there? Who would know about that jogging route? Just a half a mile from her mom's home. It's got to be a local.
And you say that's quite different from Queens, where there had been, that area had been known to be a place where vagrants and others congregated.
Yeah, and you know what? In fact, I can emphasize that in another way. Police have gone to another measure. It's a little unusual in Karina Vetrano's case. They have actually pulled up all the summonses from the last 6 months or so for vagrants, transients, people out there smoking pot, littering, whatever they can find. That was done in the Son of Sam case. Remember, he was caught because he parked his car and got a ticket by a fire hydrant. And they are pulling up everybody they know in the Vetrano area that had been out there loitering, so to speak. Not so in this case out of Boston and Princeton. It's so rural, it points to a local. That's why I think they may not be connected. Also, they're not telling us whether there's DNA in the second case.
A breakaway faction of the Pakistani Taliban has claimed responsibility for a bombing at a hospital in Pakistan that killed 67 people. Police say a suicide bomber attacked a hospital where more than 100 lawyers and journalists gathered in Quetta to check on prominent attorney Bilal Qazi. Qazi has been shot and killed by gunmen on the way to his office. Lawyers have been targeted in the
Florida reported today that 4 more people have been infected with the virus linked to birth defects, and that brings the number infected by mosquitoes in the state to 21. David Begnaud is in Miami.
The 4 new cases are thought to have originated in the same Wynwood section of Miami. Before the announcement, the mayor of Miami-Dade County, Carlos Jimenez, suggested Zika is under control here.
With the fact that we've reduced the mosquito population there by about 96%, and the fact that we have not had one mosquito that we've caught has actually been active with the Zika virus. So hopefully this was very, very contained.
Experts insist that finding an infected mosquito is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Every day, crews in the Wynwood neighborhood are clearing drains, spraying insecticide, and throwing mosquito dunks, which can kill larvae for up to 30 days.
Does the media need to have a 24-hour outpost on our main street?
The national attention and a CDC travel advisory recommending pregnant women avoid the area is starting to backfire on business owners.
We did 10% of revenue on Saturday compared to a usual Saturday. And when you consider that Saturday is 50% of our weekly revenue, that is the impact it's having on us.
35-year-old Erica Musser and her husband Daryl are rethinking pregnancy because of the Zika threat. Musser's a clinical child psychologist who lives just 6 miles from the Zika zone.
We're sort of running out of time here to start a family. There have been a lot of discussions around the dinner table about whether to keep trying at this point. This isn't me crunching numbers for my data. This is our lives and this is our family.
Here in Wynwood, officials say insecticide spraying is working to reduce the population of the mosquito that carries the Zika virus. Where they used to find about 25 in mosquito traps, they're now finding just 1. Scott, there's going to be more aerial spraying here in Wynwood tomorrow morning and again this week.
Another deadly day in Yemen. Saudi warplanes have bombed various locations, including a food factory in the capital Sana'a.
The food factory has been targeted several times. There is no kind of weaponry here. Inside this factory, more than 500 workers earn a living. Why does this brutal Saudi aggression target our source of living?
Meanwhile, Yemen's newly formed governing council has held its first meeting to discuss required measures in the face of the ongoing Saudi aggression.
This council is constitutionally responsible for taking serious decisions and running the country's affairs during these critical stages of the Saudi aggression. We call on the country's parliament to resume its sessions.
We demand amnesty for all those political figures who have been misled by Saudi Arabia. We want political parties to join the unity government. We want to open a new page and cut all the roads leading to the continuation of the ongoing conflict.
Yemen's Ansarullah movement and the party of former President Ali Abdullah Saleh formed the governing council after UN-backed peace talks in Kuwait failed to bring an end to the Saudi aggression. A stop to the Saudi war was one of the main demands by the Ansarullah and its allies at the Kuwait talks. Now, observers believe that the latest escalation in the Saudi attacks is due to Riyadh's failure to press ahead with its agenda at the negotiations.
The Saudi kingdom was trying to achieve its goal through Kuwait peace talks, but it failed and has been intensifying attacks against Yemen after it found that Yemeni political parties have decided to take matters into their hands.
Yemenis say Riyadh's brutality should be faced with stronger retaliatory operations deep inside Saudi territories. Observers believe that retaliatory measures are likely to stop Saudi war, which has so far killed thousands of people and put millions more in a dire humanitarian situation. Mohammed Attab, Press TV, Sana'a.